Dr. Shayna.
Dr. Shayna Lewis.
Dr. Shayna D. Lewis.
Dr. Shayna Lewis.
Oh, Dr. Shayna D. Lewis.
Hello, 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 my expert and practitioner friends. Welcome to Power Moves, the podcast. I am Dr. Shayna. I am your host. This is the podcast for experts who are ready to leverage your genius and finally, my friends, get paid what you're worth. I'm Dr. Shayna, your host. I'm your brand therapist, and I help experts and practitioners and entrepreneurs just like you who are really ready to build a bankable brand well beyond traditional practice. And so, welcome in to the Power Room. I'm super excited. I cannot believe we are at episode number 9. It has been 9 weeks of really having an opportunity to sit and share so many of the things that I have learned and gained over the course of the last several years, growing a business beyond traditional practice. And I've been having a great time. I hope you have as well too. Today is going to be another power-packed episode with some nuggets, honey. Like, hopefully you got your pen, your paper, your tea, your snacks as well, because there's going to be a lot that I'm going to be dropping today. It's going to help us grow into the next level of who we are to become. Now, remember, this podcast is not just about business. It's also about really leveraging your genius in life as well too. So last week we had a great conversation around truly building a bankable brand. Like, what does that really look like? I really gave you a structure. I hope you took notes. If you didn't watch that episode, you want to make sure you go back. It's foundational, honestly, to all of the work that I've been describing on the business side about truly building a bankable brand, leveraging their genius, and finally getting paid what you're worth. If you don't have the foundation of the brand, and the rest of this is just not going to make any sense. So make sure you go back and watch episode number 8. It was definitely fire. So today we're going to deep dive into another one of my 7 rivers of income. So if you've been watching this series, you understand that there are 7 amazing ways that I have learned over the course of years that you can add so much value, not only just for yourself as a business owner and growing your business, but adding value in the world, serving the people who you've been called to serve. And I think this is number 5 that we're talking about today. And this is all about coaching. So today's episode is called Put Me in the Game, Coach. Listen, it is time for so many of us to get off the sidelines, get in the game, and really become the coaches that we have really needed to become, because someone's literally waiting on you for your next breakthrough. So I want to get into today what coaching is, what it isn't, the difference between coaching and counseling. I know if I have any mental health experts on the line, you'll want to hear this for sure. How do you leverage a coaching business, marketing yourself, and how can you truly make a great impact? So we're going to deal with all of that today. You ready? All right, let's go. So here's the thing. Let me just start here, honestly, because this is the thing that has to be very clear before we get into the rest of this. What coaching is versus what counseling is. Okay. So if you know me and you follow me, you know that I am a licensed professional counselor by training. So my entire education has been to become a professional counselor. Now, as a professional counselor, there's lots of rules and things that we're bound by. It is a licensure, which means the state gets to decide the rules of that. One of the big differences between counseling and coaching is does not require a licensure to do. What does that mean, Dr. Shayna? That means that anyone who truly decides that they actually want to coach could, because it is an unregulated field. There are no licensure requirements. There are absolutely a lot of certifications that you can get around becoming a coach, but there is no body that is regulating it in the same way that they're regulating licenses. Okay. So I need you to understand that. So Here's the thing for those of us who are mental health experts who may be watching this in this space. Dr. Shana, why would I even consider adding coaching when I'm a counselor? Well, what I want you to understand, one of the reasons why I decided to do it, there was a great need for me, number one, to create opportunities to work with folks that shifted me from one to one to many. As a therapist, I was much more limited in my impact in that way. Becoming a coach and operating in this space has allowed me to serve so many more people in a vast variety of ways. The impact has been massive, and I'm grateful to serve in this one to many capacity. Now, whether you're a therapist, that's not necessarily the point of all of this. I want you to understand that you have an opportunity to walk into a coaching space and truly serve the masses. Because in a coaching business, if you're doing this in the most, I would say, beneficial way, not even just for you, but also for your clients, it is in a group setting. Why? Because your clients in a group are so much more powerful than you are just one-on-one with them. You are amazing. And I know you have a lot of expertise, but there's something about that group setting. It truly is what shifts you from one to one to many. Okay. And we're going to get into all the details of what that can look like when we go through today's episode. Okay. So coaching is not counseling. The other thing I want you to understand, for those of you who may be mental health experts, counseling typically has a backwards focus. We go back to childhood. We go back to when we were being raised. We go back to all of the other things that happen in our lives. Coaching really has a focus of now forward. So what do you want? Where are we going from here? Your past, while it does inform what has happened up to this point, may not be as big of a focus in a coaching space as it will be in a counseling space. The other thing I want you to get very clear about the difference between coaching and counseling. If someone needs counseling, they have a diagnosable issue that they need treatment for. If someone is in a space of coaching, it is not diagnosable. It does not need treatment. It may need professional development. It may need some skills, things of that sort, but it looks very different than counseling. Okay. So hopefully that levels the playing field for those of you who are wondering, like, what's the difference between coaching and counseling? I've given you a very high level answer to that, but know that they are not the same thing. They are not. Okay. So the other piece about that, because coaching is not a regulated licensure, a field that's regulated by licensure, it means that people everywhere can show up and do this work. Now, I'm going to talk to you today about, yes, you could do that, but I'm going to challenge you to create an actual framework and platform as a coach that truly can make a difference in the people's lives that you serve. Okay. Not just putting up a shingle saying I'm coaching, but how do you build a business and a framework around that business that allows you to truly serve your folks positively and powerfully. Okay. That's what we're going to talk about today. So if you have questions about it, again, put them in the comments, put them whether you're watching this live or the replay, and I will go back and take a look at those if you have questions. So let me just make the case for coaching, right, as it is, because I think sometimes we may not even understand why coaching really is a really valuable aspect that you could add to your business that would make a huge difference. One of the biggest pieces, especially if we're looking at the difference between coaching and counseling has a whole lot of stigma that people don't want to go get help in that space. But coaching is so much more open, so much more accessible, so much more received in a different way. It doesn't have any stigma to it. So being in a space to offer a coaching service really allows you to break some barriers immediately that many people have about getting help in general. Because coaching is now mainstream. It is something that everybody is talking about. It is a humongous business, humongous. And you really have opportunity to get your piece of the pie. You know, when I talk to you about the speaking industry being $43.7 billion, coaching is no different than that. It's multiple $1 billion worth of a business that you have an opportunity to walk into. Now, I will say this, the pandemic actually increased the value of coaching, or not necessarily just the value, but the opportunity for it, the need for it. So, we were all at home, sitting at home, struggling through the pandemic. Coaching is really what happened. How I began coaching was in that space. So many other people, because there was a great need, people who needed to be served, and you couldn't do it one to one. So putting us in groups allowed more people to get access to what they needed. Virtual became an amazing way in order to deliver those services. We don't have to be in front of people anymore to do this work. So it is a viable option. That doesn't mean you got to get on a plane. You don't have to get in your car. You don't do any of those things. And you can provide a valuable service to people in your demographic, your avatar, the people who you're wanting to help and support. You're able to do that. And it's massive in what it can do. So the case for coaching is huge because it's time for it. Pandemic really increased the access and the viability of it for sure. The other piece here is that you're an expert. You wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be watching this podcast if you were an expert, an entrepreneur, someone who has some ideas in your heart. There's something that you're amazingly great at. And you're wondering, like, how do I take that, leverage it in order to make more money, make more impact, make more noise in this world? Well, coaching is a great way to do it. So we're going to talk about really how, as an expert entrepreneur, you can truly design a coaching program, what the framework needs to look like, how you can market it, and then you can offer it to the masses for sure. So one of the things I want you to think about here, if we're looking at a picture of what coaching looks like, right, as a framework, I want you to consider it in this way, where you are taking people on a journey. Coaching is a journey where you're taking folks on a journey from pain to what I like to call a purposeful, positive outcome. Now, that could look like a lot of different things. But if you remember, if you watched video or episode number 8, you heard me talk about you have to understand completely and identify the pain that your audience is having. So when you've identified those pains, now you're in a position to consider, okay, so this is where they're hurting when they come to me, and this is where they desire to be. Okay, so there's the pain, and then there's the journey to get them to the desired purposeful, positive outcome, whatever that looks like, depending on the pain. So if I were to say that my pain is I'm trying to raise children and I don't know how to do it, I got unruly toddlers, my desired outcome might be having a peaceful home, having children that are responding well to my parenting, and life is good. Okay, so understand, from pain to purposeful, positive outcome. That's what we're working to help clients do on a coaching journey. Okay, now, if you are thinking, okay, what Dr. saying, well, how do you get them from the pain to the purposeful, positive outcome? That's a great question. I'm glad you asked it. So here's the thing you have to think about. What's the journey look like? So they walk into the room and they have this difficulty parenting. They don't know what to do with their kid, all of these things, and you want to get them to a place where it's peaceful and all is well. What are the steps that you must guide them through to get there? That really becomes the journey. So what I don't want you to do is think that this is so hard and difficult. I've worked with so many clients who have walked into the space coaching with me, and it's like, oh my gosh, Dr. Shana, I don't even know where to start. I don't know what to do. And we overthink this. I don't even know how to say that. We're overthinkers. Let me just say it. We're overthinkers. We make things harder than they have to be. What I'm describing to you right now is just really not that hard when you understand the framework that I'm talking about. Literally, what's the journey or the steps they need to take to get from that pain to that purposeful and positive outcome? We're talking about those parents. Step number 1 looks like what? Maybe they need to knowledge and be aware of where the deficits are in their parenting, like what is actually showing up that becomes a problem. Maybe they need to determine what kind of parent they actually want to be and look like, and understand what those options look like. Then maybe they need to create an actual roadmap or plan for parenting that works for them. And then the next step may just be the implementation of such and coming back to touch bases to see how does it work. I just made that up right now. I don't know if that's what would work in your coaching program if you coach parents, but I just want you to understand it is absolutely a step to by step process that you're taking them through. There's several things they got to go through. So literally, whatever your expertise is, think about the pain, and you should have done that last week when you watched episode 8 that they're having, and understand what's the journey that they need to go through to get to the other side. Okay. And literally just write those things out. That truly can become your coaching framework that you already have. Because many of you are already doing this work in many ways, and you just haven't thought about taking it and putting it into this kind of space for sure. Now, here's another option. Someone may be in an emotional pain place. This is one I thought about earlier. And maybe they want to get to a place of healing. So maybe some of those steps, they got to acknowledge where their pain is coming from, accept it as a part of their world and their life, release what doesn't serve them anymore, and then rebuild themselves emotionally to a place of positive healing. So again, that could be a potential process that you take someone through if that was your target audience and their target pain. Now, I will say this, you won't be able to solve every single pain point in one coaching program. The mistake that many of us have made is we try to put so much in that coaching program, like it is packed. And so we're saying people, hey, show up in this space with me for 8 weeks or 12 weeks and I'm going to fix everything. No, you're not. So let's just level the playing field and say, we're not doing that because you can't. Here's what happens. People get overwhelmed and they can't finish what they've started. They can't process all the things because it's just too much stuff. Have you ever been in a space and it's good stuff? Even think about this, you're eating and you see all of this great food and your appetite, your eyes are bigger than your stomach. And you put all of this stuff on your plate. You're like, oh, let me give me some of those, some yams and those greens, and give me some of that pork chop and some of this and some of that and some of this and some cornbread. And you put it all on your plate and you can't eat half of it because you get full too soon. And you just throw your hands up and you're really wasting the rest of it, right? We're the same way in this consumption world of learning and information. We can want to know all of it, but we cannot consume it all at one time. So what I'm asking you to consider is you need to dose it out a little bit at a time. So if you're in a space right now, you're hearing me and you're saying, that might sound like a good idea. Maybe I could start a coaching program. I could create a framework for such and offer it to people who have X pain point and take them on a journey to get to a place of purposeful and positive outcome. That's not a great idea. Just know you're not solving all of their problems in that first level of coaching program. Okay. You're not. Solve one or two of them, and that's sufficient. And folks will get a breakthrough so that they can then move on to what's next for them. Hopefully that makes sense. Sometimes we overdo it. We put too much and folks can't consume all of it. It's just excessive. Okay. So make sure that you begin thinking about what I'm describing and how do you dose it out so that it's not all in one drop. Okay. So I'll review that real quickly. The framework for your coaching program is very simple. You're taking folks from their pain, one or two pains, not all of them, taking them from this pain to a purposeful, positive outcome, whatever that looks like for them. Whatever the process is or the steps you say they have to take to get there is what happens in the middle. That becomes the framework of your coaching program. Call it your modules, call it your weekly lessons, call it whatever you want to, but that becomes the framework that you walk them through. It's just that simple. What I encourage you to think about is just don't make this overly hard. Okay. All right. So now we've talked about a framework of it. I mentioned briefly a minute ago, like how long should coaching programs be? Honestly, in the beginning, when you are first beginning to work with people, our attention spans, y'all, it's not that great. Y'all know on social media, you got like 4 seconds to get somebody's attention and they're gone. So even in this learning space, when we want to learn, when we are excited about learning, it still can be a struggle to be in a space and pay attention for an extended period of time. So you want to begin thinking about coaching programs, the length of them, in two ways. One, consider your audience. Like how much time do they actually have based on the issues that you know that they deal with to actually engage in a program like this? Do they have 90 days to sit with you weekly to process through whatever these issues might be? Okay. Or is it really, you know what? They got about 6 to 8 weeks. We need to get in, get dirty real quick and get out. I want to give them some quick wins so they can get to a breakthrough and keep moving. Maybe that's your audience. I don't know, but this is you understanding your audience very well. And that way you don't have to wonder what's good for them. You already know because you've built a program around what you know to be true for them. Okay. And so you get to decide that. And so if you say 8 weeks, 6 weeks, 12 weeks, then what I always suggest is that you meet with them weekly or bi-weekly. If it's a 90-day program, it could be bi-weekly. If it's a 6 or 8 weeks, you probably need to meet with them weekly. You go through the process of whatever your process is each week, and there's a lesson that you're teaching them. See, this is the process where you get to actually walk a group of people through a journey to get them from one place to the other. You get to decide. Those lessons honestly shouldn't be super long, but meet with them once a week for an hour or so. And literally, there's a group of them, 5 or 10 of them there. They're walking through the process together. You open it up for questions and answers, and voila, you now have a group coaching program. Did that sound like that was excessively hard and difficult, y'all? Like, y'all tell me in the comments as you're listening to this, was that simple or was that simple? Because when I learned that as a model, I said, oh my gosh, because I thought I had to create all of these things that had to be, we're looking for perfection, folks. That ain't what this is about. We're talking about helping folks. Folks need real help. They don't need perfect help. They need real help. So if I'm a parent struggling, I need help right now. It ain't got to be pretty. I just need to get help. If I'm in a relationship problem, I have relationship issues and you're a relationship coach and I need help right now, whatever the case may be, they need it now. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to be done. Okay. So there's your framework there, the length of time, how you meet with them. Yeah, I just gave y'all a blueprint. If you didn't catch that, I don't know what else to tell you because I literally just gave it to you for sure. Coaching program in a box. What it looks like, there you go. Go do something with that. Okay. Now, the last piece here I want to look at is like, what do you do with the coaching program? How do you market yourself here as a coach? Now, if you've been listening to me at all in this podcast, you know I've talked about ultimately, I'm not saying go build 7 different things. I'm saying build one brand, deliver it 7 different ways. People will meet you at different places and spaces based on where they are in their own life or their world. So with that said, you've already built a brand. By the time you get to this coaching business that you're building, the brand itself has been built. If you didn't hear that lesson, go back to episode number 8 because I gave you the blueprint for that as well too. You've built that. So now the coaching program is just going to be another extension of that very same thing. Okay. So as you're marketing this, you're marketing the entire brand. The coaching becomes an offer that you have as part of the brand's level of, or I should say, rest suite of offerings. Okay. So one of the fastest ways, and let me give you my number one way of growing a coaching program, honestly, is through speaking. Now, I talked about speaking weeks and weeks and weeks ago, but I'm going to tell you why I say speaking is number one. I just look at, and I've been taught this by my coaches and mentors as well, too. And it's held up to be true in the work as I've gone forth and done this myself, that speaking literally becomes the engine that makes your coaching business go. Why do I say that? Because when you show up and you become the expert speaker, you're in a room of 50 people, 100 people, 1,000 people, 2,000 people, whatever the case may be. You now have X amount enter in, how many people are in the room, potential clients, right? They're there. If you're in a good speaking engagement, that is your target audience is in the room with you and you're having a conversation around your expertise, which is an answer to a problem that they have. Now you can now pitch in your talk to them an opportunity to work with you beyond that talk. So this is why I tell speakers all the time, if you don't have something else to offer people beyond your talk, you are leaving so much on the table. Not only are you leaving on the table, you're leaving people undone. So in essence, you have a great talk. Everybody's hand clapping. And y'all already know I don't speak for hand claps, but they clapping. They've had a great time. But it's literally like leaving them in an operating table, cut open. You get a phone call and you walk away. They're like, hey, wait a minute. You didn't close me up here. When you have these talks, when you are an expert speaker, you're the keynote speaker, you're doing these awesome workshops, they need something else from you when it's over. Someone's going to want to come to your table. Someone's going to ask you a question. Hey, how can I work with you even more? Because what you just said was phenomenal. You just opened up something in me. There's more I want to do with you. How can I do that? And you say, I don't know. I don't have anything. You don't have a book. You don't have a coaching program. They're like, okay, then they feel very much let down. You now have lost an opportunity to serve, and your business ends up with a really like a reservoir that things just fall in, like there's a void, right? It just falls flat instead of continuing to scale and grow. So understand this coaching program and your speaking business really can go hand in hand. It's my favorite way to grow my coaching business is having talks with audiences who are my ideal client avatars so that we can then convert them into actual clients. Okay. So there's that. So there's the speaking way. The other way is also tapping into some of the other rivers that we talked about. The media is a great one. Again, you are in front of a group of people. You didn't bring them there. The media did. It's a great way for people to understand your expertise. You leverage that space on the back end. You are able to then offer them other services because they want more. You're amazing. You're great at what you do. And somebody's literally waiting on you so they can get their breakthrough. So truly, it's time for you to just get up and let's go. Okay. So you also, while you're on social media, and I'm hopeful as we've been going through this whole process over these last several episodes, you keep hearing me say, you got to be in a space where your people are playing. If they're on IG or TikTok or Instagram or YouTube, be where they are because they need to see who you are and what it is that you offer and what you do. The only way they can see that is if you open your mouth, you're sharing content and things like that. So as a coach, you want to show up letting the world know, hey, I coach and I help people do these things. You have your program set up. You have the way that you lead people into your offering so they know who you are and what you can serve and how you can serve them. Super powerful. So don't sleep on social media as an avenue as well, too. Okay. So now I'm coming to a close here today. I'm hopeful that you've gotten some ideas around how coaching can be powerful. It's a super powerful arm to your business. It is an amazing river, and it not only allows you to serve one to many instead of one to one, but it will increase your impact, your influence, and absolutely your income because folks are paying you for a program and not for 1 hour at a time. I forgot to say that piece earlier. Coaching looks very different than one-to-one service. It is a program. It is a package that you are helping people through as opposed to them investing one session at a time. Looks completely different. So it's an amazing opportunity. So I am hopeful that you took some nuggets away from this conversation today. I want to give you your recap, right? So number one, understand that coaching is not counseling. There are two different things. You do not have to have a licensure to be a coach at all. There are many coaching programs you can get certified, but even those are not required because it is not a field that is regulated at this time in that way. Now, the other component here is you want to build a framework to your coaching business, and then you want to take folks on a journey, okay, from where their pain is to their purposeful and positive outcome. And then you want to market yourself in this space as you're speaking, as well as offering people coaching on the other side and in social media. So the world knows that you are here to help in a way that allows them to get the breakthrough that they're hoping for, needing to get out of their pain. Okay, so there you have it, folks. There's your entire coaching program in a box. I hope you caught that. That was so simple, so good. I couldn't get it any more clear than that. And I want to give you the power affirmation for today because I definitely believe that becoming a coach really allows you to show up powerfully. And literally, it's the title. I'm ready. Put me in the game, coach. I'm ready. Like you want to be put in the game, the coaching space, so you can show up and serve powerfully. It's one of my favorite things to do. Like y'all know, I see a lot of stuff is my favorite, but I do. I really love coaching as well too. All of it I love. I just love helping and serving people to become the greatest version of themselves. Love helping and serving you to leverage your genius and finally get paid what you're worth. Because you can, you will, and you must. A move must be made. Let the next move be your best move. In fact, make it your power move. Make sure you go ahead and click the links below this video. Get your free gift, your 10X blueprint. It's the 7 rivers. I'm going to go and deep dive into that, get that free gift. Or if you say, Dr. Shana, I need to talk to you, there's a link there too to get on my calendar, have a great conversation as well too. I'm here to help. I'm here to serve. Let's make power moves, folks. Somebody's waiting on us to show up, and it is time that we show up and serve. So until next time, I'll see you next episode. Y'all make some power moves. Put me in the game, coach. Let's go.